Innovation of the scope and scale of aerospace is rarely done behind closed doors. Successes, as well as setbacks, are often visible for all to see.
I was fortunate to join our industry in the last quarter of really a remarkable century. To me, aerospace defined the 20th century. It helped win World War II, it helped win the Cold War, it changed the way we navigate and communicate with satellites, it brought the world closer together with commercial airplanes, and of course when Neil Armstrong walked on the moon, it forever changed how people look at the world around us. I began my career in aerospace at Rockwell. At the time, we thought the Russians had a lot bigger bombs than we did. But we felt okay because, we took comfort in the fact that our guidance systems were more accurate than theirs, or at least that's what we thought. Years later, what I learned is that in addition to big bombs, they had really good guidance systems. It was a lesson in not underestimating your competitor. In the late 1980s, Don Beal asked me to go to El Paso, Texas, and run a facility that was manufacturing products that went into the B-1B bomber.
The B-1 program was a critically important program built on a fixed price contract.
And it was my first time in the corner office.
And every job he had, he really set high sights for himself.
And I didn't know a lot about building avionics equipment, but I learned you had to trust your team, you had to empower your team, and if you did that, they do great things for you, they do great things for the company.
His philosophy, I think, is something that ought to be in most leadership books.
After the fall of the Iron Curtain, there was a big consolidation in the defense industry.
And so all of us started looking at how do we make 1 and 1 equal 3.
So you ended up with Boeing picking up the Rockwell aerospace business, McDonnell Douglas, a big part of Hughes, and developing a very strong position for the future.
And to me, taking those 4 organizations, created a lot of great ideas, and great ideas allowed us to grow that business dramatically.
Jim was great at building a team, and when you build a team, you got to be sure that everybody's going to play.
The International Space Station was kind of the program that nobody wanted.
It was a program that included, I believe, some 16 international customers.
But the thing about it was the uncertainty. I'll say we, NASA, the customer, were unreliable because we didn't control our own destiny.
There was a program in the late 1980s that was in trouble.
Jim ended up being somebody who had to work with us, the unreliables, and to try to figure out how to make this thing work.
2 parts of the space station that had never been within 5,000 miles of each other. We threw the switch and it worked perfectly. And I think that what that tells you is that while engineers may have different native tongues, they all speak the language of engineering. Commercial space was the next big thing. We all thought that we're going to launch enough satellites to block out the sun, and quite frankly the marketplace just wasn't there after we made the investment.
What I saw was calmness under pressure. Boeing was under a lot of pressure. A major satellite program got in trouble.
And I had the opportunity to write down $1 billion several times. It could have been a great marketplace, but what it did do is it generated a lot of great technology. To launch out of those satellites, we came up with a new launch vehicle, the Delta IV.
The biggest challenge to start off with was that we were trying to really change the paradigm on the development costs and schedule for liquid rocket engines.
Typical Boeing pushing technology on a fixed price program.
I think we were both surprised that the Boeing company approved the amount of money it was going to take to develop this project.
And probably what I'm most proud of for that team is that the RS-68 has had a perfect flight record since its certification.
And to this day, I think that the Delta IV is still the benchmark.
And then, quite frankly, we ended up with the best vehicle.
With the program over the years that's probably got more publicity than any I can think of is the U.S. tanker competition. And having gone through that, I think, taught us a lot of lessons that we will continue to learn from for years to come. In 2002, Phil Condon and Harry Stonecipher asked me to form the Integrated Defense Systems Organization.
And of course, there are many different goals, many different objectives, many different legacy programs, and of course, many different cultures. No effort at merging companies like this is going to be successful, but he made a huge effort in bashing heads together and making certain that people worked together and had one identity.
And as a result, I think they got to know each other, and they got to understand that these heritage organizations all had a lot to offer.
Absolutely, that's what he did.
In 2004, we faced another problem. Our programs are getting old.
And the whole emphasis at that time was to have a more balanced business so you weren't dependent on cycles in commercial airplanes.
And we came up with a concept we called network-centric operations.
That was nothing before Jim thought of it, and then Jim was the only one that could explain it and sell it.
Ultimately, we took that concept and we grew up from a business of about $1 billion to a business of about $10 to $12 billion.
During the time frame where he was running IDS, we saw new asymmetric threats evolve. That fundamentally changed our industry, the type of products we developed, this lead system integrator concept, and Jim was right on the forefront of those changes in the environment and our business model.
And quite frankly, it changed how the government procures product.
One of the first programs that we had that truly demonstrated the power of the network was the ground-based mid-course missile defense program. We took a lot of sensors that weren't designed for missile defense. We put a command and control system together to turn data into information, information into knowledge, knowledge into decision making, and we came up with a capability that could actually hit a bullet with a bullet. And even to this day, I marvel at how complex that was.
He started selling me, he said, Pat, we have this challenging program. All you got to know is pointy end on top, fire on the bottom.
Without question, the darkest day of my career was the day that we lost Columbia. And I know I felt the same way that everybody on the program felt that day. And it was, what could I have done differently? What could I have done better that might have got them back safely? Another sad day in my career was the day that we parked the shuttle. To me, the space shuttle is truly an amazing piece of engineering. And again, when we parked that shuttle for the last time, for the first time since 1962, we no longer had access to space. A sad day.
The biggest success in Jim's career, in my opinion, all right, was going to Seattle and taking over the commercial business.
And Jim had a real desire to rekindle that spirit of flight and that spirit of engineering in the company, being first and foremost an engineering company that built great products.
And he quickly had to get acquainted with a lot of interesting characters in the airline business, including myself.
When I went to Boeing Commercial Airplanes, I had 5 goals for the team and I had 1 for myself. And for the team, I wanted them to fly and deliver the 787. I wanted them to fly and deliver the 747-8. I wanted them to help win the tanker program. I wanted them to get a contract in place with the machinists. And I wanted them to put in a strategy for BCA that would carry on for several decades. And for myself, the goal I had was to put a team in place out there where they didn't need me anymore.
So it was a great partnership, and it's continued through the Boeing management that succeeded Jim, but he set the tone with that collegial partnership orientation between Boeing and FedEx.
The first flight of the Dreamliner was quite a day. And I don't care who you were or what you did at that moment. Any employee across all of Boeing, I think they all felt great pride in what the team accomplished.
But it was just one of those moments in time where you'll remember where you were forever.
And it'll be remembered as a day that changed the way that airplanes are built and the way people fly.
So to you, Jim Albaugh, and the team that you led, you delivered on the promise of the 787, and the company and our customers are immensely grateful for your efforts, Jim.
If you think of Jim's career in rockets, in satellites, and in weapon systems, on the commercial side, base station, space shuttle, NRO programs, the 787, very challenging technical and programmatic.
He's able to take hardcore engineering issues and hardcore management issues and make them fun, combine them, and remind people there's more than just the job.
Throughout his career, it's always been about building better products, building relationships, building a better industry.
And getting everybody to go and do it and feel good about doing so.
When you need a good drive, he delivers. When you need a putt, he can make it.
He was very good with the people internally, but he was as good with customers.
And I really commend Jim for helping Boeing evolve into a better organization.
And he's just been a great leader in that respect.
The great companies do great things, and I think great things only come about really for three reasons. The first is listening to our customers. The second is ensuring excellence in engineering. And the last one is pushing the boundaries of innovation. And if I was able to remind people of those things, that would be a great legacy. Aerospace defined the 20th century. The question is, will it define the 21st? I believe it will, but I think it will take the collective commitment of companies, universities, and the government to make it happen. But we can make it happen.